Hello Internet, and welcome to my live reaction for Fairy Tale 100 Years Quest, Chapter 66. When we last left our heroes, the White Wizard used the spell, I think Aqua Era it was called, to try to drag Team Natsu to her world Elentir, but it didn't work. Instead brought them back to Edolas 9 years later, and we see what's become of Edolas Fairy Tale. Specifically, they become a courier guild in the absence of magic and in the absence of them being outlaws. And Natsu and Lucy got married and had a daughter, Nasha. And Gray and Juvia got married and had a son, Gragi. Gragi? I'm not entirely sure how it's meant to be pronounced. But there's a quick mention of the gang going to see Mystogan, try to figure out why they're back. They don't know that this is all the White Wizard's fault. And a little warning of Urza to not meet with Knightwalker under any circumstances. So let's jump right on into Chapter 66 at Edolas. And our picture here is a very happy Nasha high-fiving and kind of shy Grigi. Even across dimensions and generations, the bonds of friendship are connected. So we open it with the alternate world Edolas. It's a world that's a lot like Earthland where we live, but it's also not. Magic isn't plentiful in Edolas like it is in Earthland. In fact, Edolas was suffering from a shortage of magic. All of it led up to a huge incident, but in the end, it was resolved by getting rid of all magic in Edolas. So here's a quick little recap of the Edolas arc, because like I brought up last chapter, it's been 10 years since Edolas came out, in the manga at least. So you'll be forgiven for not remembering the exact details. That marked the day we said goodbye to Edolas. We went on with our lives not knowing what happened in Edolas after that. But I never even imagined we'd ever come back, let alone like this. And we see Ada Lucy. Whoa, it suits you perfectly. And we see our Lucy in the much more revealing outfit. That did Edo Lucy wear that? Actually wear that outfit back in the Edolas arc? And Edo Lucy grins, just like when I was younger. Well, we do have the same body, but don't you have any less revealing clothes? Hey, beggars can't be choosers. Oh, right, because she did come here naked. She was still in the bath towel after Brandish's game. And so Lucy asks Edo Lucy, so what happened with you and Natsu? Well, we were in a car, and he, came on to me strong. I mean, you don't have that kind of relationship with the Natsu over there? And Lucy blushes, not at all. And Edo Lucy smiles at Lucy. We're doing well, so I'm sure you two will too. Is that right? And Nasha is just kind of like staring at our Natsu. There are two papas. And Edo Natsu, this is me from Earthland. Yo, I'm Earth Natsu. Actually, here's something I've never really thought about. Because the exact details of the 400 years storyline were not in the series when Edolas was written. If everyone seems to be born at the same time as their Earthland counterparts, why are Natsu, Wendy, and Gajeel alive in this time period? I mean, Gajeel, there's the whole, I think Edolas Gajeel was not in the manga, so that's a little questioning, but that doesn't really change the real point. Did something happen in Edolas to send Natsu, Wendy, Gajeel, presumably Sting and Rogue, 400 years in the future, so that they could also be here? If so, would poor Liusica know about it? Because she's the Edolas Grandine, right? I don't know. A lot to think about. And our Natsu picks up Nasha. Hey, can she breathe fire and stuff? Nasha just confused, and Edo Natsu, she's not a monster. Because of course they don't have magic over here anymore. And Grigi just walks over to them, looking kind of nonplussed. He's looking at our Gray. What are you staring at? And Grigi asks him, why don't you wear clothes? Um, which of course Greggy does not have any experience with our Gray's habits. And Wendy just laughs. Heh, if Grayson and Juvia-san had a child, I wonder if the child would be like him. He's too cute, right? And Gray just, looks away, blushing. And Edolas Gray walks over to our Gray. By the way, what's the Juvia over there like? And then Juvia is also there. It's scary to imagine there being two Juvias. And Gray, kind of like to himself, there's even a third one called Juvina-sama. I'm glad we occasionally just can bring up how fucking weird Fairy Nail is. I love Fairy Nail. I think it's hilarious, but it's weird that they all have copies who are in Showbiz. And presumably they'll also have Elentir copies. But then we see Griggy get Nasha's attention. And Nasha waves at him, and Griggy just turns away. And our Gray and Natsu get into a fight. Why are you making eyes at Nasha? Don't be so loud. You're gonna scare Griggy. And Wendy asks them, why are you two fighting? And then we see Happy and Carla sitting off to the side. I'm glad everything's so peaceful, Carla. Indeed. Although, if exceeds are hated in this world, it'd only be natural. And Ada Wendy picks up Carla. That's not true at all. Everyone was worried sick about you since then. Ada Wendy? Besides, you just feel so soft and fluffy. So she starts, kind of nuzzling Carla. Hey, that's painful, and you're too springy. The boob crack gets on our Wendy's nerves. And then we get to the actual kind of plot things from last time. When Urza asks, what did she mean when she said I shouldn't meet myself? And Mira just laughs. Who knows? I don't know the details either. Lucy is more familiar with what goes on at the capital. In that case, it doesn't feel like I'm talking to an alternate world... whatever the case, it doesn't feel like I'm talking to an alternate world counterpart. And then the two Lucys come out. Sorry for the wait. And Edo Lucy looks... I'm trying to make out what that face is that Lucy's making. And she comes to confront Urza. Looking at you reminds me of our friends who were killed. And Edo Natsu runs to stop her. Hold on, Lucy. But I guess the feeling is mutual. We also killed a lot of royal soldiers in the old days. But the war is over now. So I feel like, did the two of them never meet back in the Edolas Arc? Because I feel like that would have gotten brought up. This is a feeling that would have been there during the actual war. I don't know. And then Urza asks her, is that why you're keeping what happened with Knightwalker a secret? Let me have at least a little revenge. Okay. There's no way that's going to bite anyone in the ass later. And then we cut to the Edolas royal capital. We see the castle, high up in the sky. We see just the civilians in the streets. And the gang is all here. We've already arrived, and Lucy looks around. Whoa, this takes me back. Look at that. Everyone's doing really good. You never think we were in the middle of a fight last time we came. Gray says. He kind of looks around. And Wendy comes over to Ursa, who's just in a poncho and a giant hat. Why are you dressed like that, Ursa-san? I'm apparently a celebrity in the capital. This is just a precaution. So again, we still don't really know what the deal is with Knightwalker. How are the old royal soldiers fitting into the new regime? I don't know. Part of it is also I just really don't remember how Edolas ended. This was a good decade ago. And Happy turns to Carla. I wish we could have brought Lily with us. It's not like we can come and go as we please. Natsu just storms onto the street. Let's hurry up and go. We're gonna see Mystogan. And Wendy claps her hands. That sounds like fun. And don't forget, of course, that Wendy met Mystogan 10 years in her perspective time Back when she, like, before she ran into a cake shelter, I think. Though also, that bit of backstory has not been brought up in many years, so... Anyway, I guess the gang just walks right in. For a royal castle, the security sure is crap. We just walked right in like it's nothing. And just then someone approaches. That's because we've got crazy awesome public safety. There are very few in town who would mean us harm. Oh, and it's Sugar Boy and Hughes, who are still in the Royal Army. Which means I guess that the ousting of Faust did very little for his henchmen. It's been a while, Ice Boy. Looks like we got some crazy awesome guests. I also only vaguely remember their quirk. What their I almost use quirk like fucking MHA, but I mean like their particular personality traits were. I can vaguely remember it, but I don't remember how they felt about our heroes. And Natsu runs right up to Sugar Boy. Whoa, it's you guys. Hello, Fire Boy. And then he turns to Happy. And you, Kitty Boy. Kitty Boy? He goes over to Lucy. Please don't give me a weird nickname. Milk Girl. Ugh, Sugar Boy, what the fuck? And Lucy covers her breasts. That's sexual harassment. And just then, Coco, who I only vaguely remember, comes running at them. Princess! Coco! And Lucy and Coco have a reunion. You've gotten so big. And then Coco tells her, but you haven't grown at all, Princess. I really should reread Edolas before this arc goes any further, because I only, like, half remember any of the relationships in this arc. Which, you know, like I've brought up many times, is just kind of what happens when you leave a whole set of characters alone for 10 years. And Wendy turns away. Yet another case of a chest getting bigger. And Gray asks, and did you just call her Princess? And Urza, taking off her disguise, looks around. So where is Knightwalker? Goo-shoo-shoo-shoo. His Majesty is right this way. Urza-sama is there as... Oh, I know what's happening. They got married. We got some Jerza going on here. Urza-sama is there as well. With his Chief of Staff, Biro, who I straight up don't remember at all. And Urza just kind of takes that news as she does. The door opens, and there is Mystogan. Welcome, my friends from Earthland. It's been far too long. And Lucy, Happy, Natsu, and Gray just cheer, Mystogan! Wendy, wow! And Urza just kind of smiles, Mystogan. You insolent dogs! In comes Knightwalker, who whacks them all, except for Urza. And we see her in some kind of maid outfit? I'm not sure what that's about. You dare invoke his majesty's name? Damn insurgents! And she comes to attack Urza Scarlet. But Urza, like, catches her hand. Scarlet? Knightwalker? Urza. And Knightwalker kneels. Sir! And Scarlet, like, snaps to attention. Yes? No, I mean Knightwalker. As you can see, these are our guests. Please don't be so violent with them. I humbly ask for forgiveness, and she's like groveling in front of him. I don't remember this dynamic at all. God, I really should, just like one of these days, just rewatch Edolas. And everyone just looks in shock at Knightwalker's actions, like gaping. Mystogan asks her, please, would you stop doing that? No, this cannot be excused. What must I do to earn your forgiveness? Please sentence me to punishment by lashing. So, for those of y'all who have not been keeping up with Eden Zero, I criticize it semi-frequently for its BDSM obsession. And I normally think that Fairy Tail doesn't bother with that, you know? Sometimes, though, it gets pretty close. This part's pretty close. Not as bad as Easy, though. And Mystogan just, like, balks. I said it's fine, just stand up. No, I am prepared. Now hurry, I present my rear to you. And Natsu turns to Mystogan. So, she became your maid? No. Appearances aside, she is still a fully fledged knight captain. And Knightwalker, snaps to a salute. His Majesty's enemies are my enemies. His Majesty's friends are my friends. And Carla just kind of looks. She's changed quite a bit. And Scarlet turns to snap at Lucy. That damn Edo Lucy. Don't glare at me. And we see back at the guild, Edo Lucy just laughing. I'm not entirely sure why she didn't tell anyone about this. Like, I don't quite get what the big deal is. It'd be one thing if she was, like, married to Mystogan. If Edo Lucy knew about Scarlet's, crush on Jalal, which I don't remember if she knew that or not, because again, like I've said 100 times, I need to rewatch Edolas. Anyway, Mystogan turns to Happy. Are the Master, Lily, and the others doing well? Aye. And Knightwalker grabs Happy. How dare you say aye? You respond to His Majesty with yes, sir. Damn exceed. I'm sorry. And Mystogan just tells her, enough, Urza. And Gray pops up behind Mystogan. I get it. So she's fallen for you, huh? Fallen for him? No, you're wrong. His Majesty is simply the light of my life. And Scarlet just turns to Mystogan. What happened over the last 9 years? Well, they've been eventful. And Lucy just kind of says, but I guess this Urza is kind of cute. And then sometime later, they're all sitting at a table, except Knightwalker, who is still standing around in her maid outfit, not wanting to sit with them. And Mystogan kind of reiterates what we all already know. So you don't know how you came here, or how to go back. Never heard the word anima in Edolas over the past 9 years. We can't even open it to begin with, since we have no magical abilities. So Natsu asks, so that means it wasn't that somebody from Edolas brought us here, right? If that's the case, who did? That means it was somebody from Earthland. To which Urza asks, but is there anybody from Earthland who can open anima? And Carla responds, it could be an exceed, but that's only a possibility. And Happy remembers, oh yeah, we did go to Edolas using our wings that time. Which is how they got to Edolas in the first place, right? Way back in the beginning of that arc. And Jalal chimes in, that reminds me, apparently there are others who possess this power. Actually, it is said that there was another target in addition to Edolas, to Earthland for the Anima Project. Elentir, the Transcendental Magic World. There we go. Now we're getting into how this part ties into the main plot. And Wendy, snaps, is this a different world other than Earthland and Edolas? There is somebody in that world with world-traveling abilities that are greater than Anima. That is why I didn't become a target for the Anima Project. The moon dragon god Selene, the dragon who crosses dimensions. To be continued next time. Okay. So, there are 2 parts of this chapter, which is one of my favorite ways to discuss a chapter. One is the first 19 pages or so. That's basically just kind of exploring the new dynamics of Edolas. How they've stayed the same, how they've changed. And it's one of those things that reading it, I'm just like, I need to rewatch Edolas. Because it's been a long time since I've seen this arc. Like I've said over and over throughout this video, the fact that dynamic, that we haven't explored these characters in 10 years, really is kind of hampering my memory of them. But it is still a fun chapter for what it is. I'm sure when I go back and rewatch Edolas, and then reread this chapter, it will be a lot more fun. Because I vaguely remember Coco being kind of an ally, but only once it was brought up, I'm like, oh yeah, I guess that kind of happened. I remember Gray and Sugar Boy having a bit of a rivalry. I remember next to nothing about Hughes. I remember that his Earthland counterpart in that one filler arc was a woman, and that is all I remember about him. And then Knightwalker's new dynamic. I was kind of right in that she's into Mystogan. I thought she would be married to Mystogan. But no, she's just a maid. Not actually a maid, just like hoping that Mystogan suddenly gets a maid fetish. I don't know. But then we have the little droplets of plot, where Mystogan reveals that there was another world that the Anima Project considered getting magic from, but there was someone in that world too powerful, and that is, of course, Selene. So I do remember having some question as if the White Wizard was from another world, how does she know Selene? Who I'd assumed was on Giltena. And we know that Selene can cross dimensions. So I'm curious where Selene calls home? Like maybe the White Wizard wants their help to stop Selene, but no, because she was in an alliance with Selene at first, and then Selene kind of backstabbed her to awake Alderaan. I don't know. We kind of need more info on Selene to quite figure out how she fits in this plot of dragons and white wizards and Edolas. Just because I don't know. There's just not enough info on her to really kind of hash out what her goals are, how she fits into things. We know she's a much bigger schemer than like Ignia or Merphobia, certainly more than Alderaan. But she was playing the long game with the White Wizard, maybe even for like 100 years. The whole 100 years the White Wizard was active. So yeah, there's a lot we don't know about Selene. Hopefully next chapter will give us some hint as to who Selene is. The last thing I want to bring up is the title Mystogan gives to Elentir, the Transcendental Magic World. I'm curious if that means it's going to be a world of pure magic. If so, what does that look like? There could be some really cool things there. But we'll have to wait and see for that next time. So, hope you all enjoyed this video and the chapter. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe, or, do whatever makes you happy, And remember, your life is your own, okay? Bye!